Manti, Kyle, Will, Jamie. Will, welcome back to the breakfast table.
I'm here. I just had breakfast.
Those are words. We've said them on television. Will, look alive, Will.
Legit, I just had breakfast. Literally. Hold on.
Perfect. Well, there's games tonight. There is a single game tonight. Kyle, do you feel like when you prepare to watch football, that when the season begins, like you have to do like a stretch? Are you lumbering up, like emotionally, physically? How are you preparing to watch live action football tonight?
No, I'm just like emaciated, crawling through the desert, getting to the oasis that is Trey Lance of the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm into this game tonight, guys. Let's be honest. Sometimes the Hall of Fame game is like, who are these guys? And then sometimes you get one where you know the starting quarterbacks you're interested in. This is going to be beautiful. I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm not going to say that a trend that I saw on social media yesterday hit different when I saw that there are people in the country that just learned that Trey Lance is on the Chargers. And Manti and I were at training camp on Saturday, and Trey Lance is on the Chargers, everybody. It was great to see. It's a beautiful thing, and it's happening tonight in the Hall of Fame game. But first, let's talk about kind of the opposite of the Trey Lance experiment, and it's called Aaron Rodgers, okay? Longtime NFL quarterback. We know what he was all about for a long time in his career to start. Then he started to make some moves. Goes to the Jets, now he's with the Steelers. He's loving the camaraderie that he is building with his teammates every day at practice in Pittsburgh. Rodgers' 21st training camp. That's insane. He's enjoying the process still in getting to know his options with his new offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, and the scheme.
I like the flexibility. You know, Arthur's not rigid in what he's doing. He wants to tailor the scheme to the personnel that you got. When you bring in a Kenny Gainwell, bring in a Jonnu Smith, bring in DK Metcalf, and myself with some of the stuff I've done over the years, you know, we're trying to find out what guys do best and implement that in the offense. So I love that about Arthur. So we're going to keep doing that. As much as I have a good feel for the offense, I'm not what I would call an expert of the offense yet. You become an expert, well, I become an expert when you break the huddle and you can see the picture in your mind. And every now and then the picture's a little fuzzy still, so I'm still working some things out.
Yeah, you put those glasses on, and it's like, I can see trees, I can see the leaves, Kyle. It's stunning. Kyle, those of us at the table, you are the last person to most recently speak to Aaron Rodgers in person. You hear what he is saying in that clip. You had the conversation with him at training camp in Latrobe over the weekend. What do you make of the fact that the picture is becoming a little clearer for him?
Well, they got a lot of work to do, a lot, and this is going to be difficult. When Rodgers, anything Rodgers says, he gives you a little hint of it. What he means, though, is this, enlarge. When he says, like, I'm not an expert in the offense yet, he's like, I'm just learning the offense. Look, Rodgers is an expert in everything, right?
Yeah.
When he says, I'm not an expert in the offense, he's learning it. It's new, and what I think is fascinating about this is a guy who is entering his 21st season. You say about Rodgers, he's seen everything. He's done everything. No, he hasn't. He has never done this before. He has never changed teams and had a new coordinator and a new set of talent around him. Let's remember, he goes to the Jets. He has Nathaniel Hackett running the offense. That's his guy, hand-picked. That is the reason he's there. Even when Rodgers got hurt and missed the whole season and they lost all the games, Hackett came back the next year. So that is his bro. This is not Arthur Smith. This is not what he's doing now. Also with the Jets, they brought in Devontae for him. They had Alan Lazard for him. Those are his buddies. Those are his little blankies, his whoopies to keep him comfortable. There's no whoopies now. I don't look up there and see a bunch of different Packers. I don't. I see really good players, and I see a really experienced, really old player who in his 21st season is trying to do something that he's really never done. Change teams, change everything, and hit the ground running week 1 against who? The Jets. It's going to be difficult. We look at these teams about who's going to be fast out of the gates, who's going to be 3-0. I don't know if I have the Steelers there. The thing is, guys, they will be there in the end. And I will say this always, is he has a lot of challenges and a lot of difficulties, but I believe Aaron Rodgers will be in the playoffs this year. I really do, because the Steelers always are. And Aaron Rodgers has not been in a playoff game since the 2021 season. That is a drought. I think it will end this year, but it's going to be really difficult, especially early on.
That hit different for you, Will? 2021 season.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
I know.
And we're still talking about the guy. Rightfully so, right? Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. You know, I'm a biased, straight up, just Aaron Rodgers fan. You know, I obviously was there with him in Green Bay. But I love what he's saying. I love all the things he's talking about in terms of, like, yes, of course he's going to say I'm not an expert in this offense, but he is an expert in football. And I'm sure they spoke previously when he was in Malibu and talked about how they're going to make this fit for him. And sure, he's saying he's not bringing his own offense. I'm sure he's going to do the things that he likes in this situation. And I think, yeah, he has a plethora of weapons. He mentioned there's a possibility they might go 0-4 personnel, which is 4 tight ends and no receivers. And this reminds me of playing the Patriots back in 2007 or playing them back in 2011, where they would come out in 0-4 personnel with all tight ends and go empty. And so now you're in a mismatch because now you have all linebackers and safeties on the field. And then he mentioned all the little receivers, right?
Yeah.
Bobby Wilson, the Calvin Austin, Scotty Miller, and then Robert Woods is there, I believe, as well. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be fun. He's going to have a lot of fun this year with his offense, and obviously the DK Metcalf outside. And so I'm excited to watch what they do. I'm very, very, very excited.
Yeah, Will, you just elaborated on what he meant by the flexibility of Arthur Smith's offense. There's so many different personnels with all those tight ends there, the big wide receivers there, the running backs. They can do so many different things, and that's what I think if you let's dissect what Aaron Rodgers said. He said it looks a little fuzzy. Well, when you're a player in this league, there's a 3-step process that you have to go through in order to understand the system. Number one, I got to know what my job is. Like, what does Manti have to do in this play? The second tier is, what are my teammates doing so that I can better understand my job and I can play faster. Now, the last part is, how is my opponent attacking me? You cannot go through that step and skip a step. It just doesn't work that way. So Aaron Rodgers has played this game 21 seasons. That's insane. But Aaron Rodgers only understands Aaron Rodgers terminology. He doesn't know Arthur Smith's swing yet. So he can't look at Jonnu Smith in this picture and say, Jonnu, go line up in trips formation. In Steelers terminology, it may be trio or tray, whatever it is. Like, that's the fuzziness. Now, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, his experience takes over. He's seen what a 2-shell looks like. He's seen what a 1. He knows what all of that looks like. I think he's just at the point right now where he's not comfortable being able to articulate to his teammates in the language that they understand so that they can execute. And until he gets to that point, I think he'll always say, like, man, it's a little fuzzy for me right now.
I like how you explain that, because that's actually kind of makes sense with what happened with the Jets last year. You have Garrett Wilson, who's just trying to become a guy, become a dude in the NFL. You have Rodgers bringing in an offensive coordinator that he knows, players that he knows. It was a mishmash of, in a mosh pit, if you will, of just experience and whether or not you knew each other, and it just did not pan out. We'll see if this works for the Steelers offensively. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers is happy to have a 3-time All-Pro cornerback in Jalen Ramsey now as his teammate in Pittsburgh.
He's a tempo violator in the walkthroughs. I like Jalen. I have a ton of respect for him, what he's accomplished in his career. He's a very versatile guy. I was telling him we were walking to calf one of these days, and I was reminding him how Charles Woodson, late in his career, moved to safety. And there's, truly only a few elite guys who've done everything that he's done. If you think about it, you can play outside corner and dominate, you can play nickel and dominate, and then go to safety and be a dominant player. And I think he can do all 3 of those things.
I have a working list of favorite football terms. Catch radius for tight ends is always on it, and tempo violator.
Thigh board was the other one.
Yeah, I love thigh board. And tempo violator is now on the list, which it's a working list. We always love it. Tempo violator, Jalen Ramsey. Well, your thoughts on comparing Jalen Ramsey to your former teammate, a Hall of Famer, Charles Woodson?
No, I love this comparison. Jalen Ramsey, he's one of, if not probably the most versatile defensive back in the NFL. When he was at Florida State, played safety, came to Jacksonville, played corner, and then when he went to the Rams, Raheem Morris moved into the position called the star, which is, for me, was a nickel, where he is close to the line of scrimmage and he can use them, whether to cover them one player, blitz, or do whatever. And when Charles Woodson came to Green Bay in 2006, he was the corner, but then when we brought in Dom Capers made him the nickel, pretty much what he did for Rod Woodson back with the Steelers, the whole Blitzburg situation. So you have areas where does Charles need a blitz? Like excellent blitz, and so is Jalen Ramsey. Can I go cover my nickel? Can they cover with them one guy? Same thing, he can go do that as well. Playmaking, same thing as well. And here, let's go with the measurements. Both 6'1". Yes, Charles was 210. I would say when he went to Oakland, he was a little older.
Yep.
210. All-pro. This is when he first got. Okay, so this was initially, and then similar interception, similar tackle. So I love the comparison, and just an absolute menace when it comes to what they do on defense. So I see that comparison.
Yeah, you're talking, Will, about the height, weight. We see the height, weight there. You talk about the fit in the scheme. Let's just talk about the characteristics of the game. You look at Charles Woodson. He's very instinctual. That's number one. He's fearless in the run game. Like you saw so many times, he's between guards and just throwing a shoulder out there just to take down the running back. And he had elite ball skills. Like the guy just had a knack for taking the ball away from an offense. Jalen Ramsey has all three of those. You see that in his game. He's not afraid to come down and lay the boom. He's very instinctual, and he's going to get the ball back. Once the ball is in the air, he has that mentality, which all the greats do. It's mine. And so I really like this comparison, you know, just like you said, Will. And if I am and Jalen, number one, I'm confident in that, but I'm also like, man, that's also a great honor that somebody like Aaron Rodgers compared me to one of the best.
That's a huge honor and a compliment. I don't know if it's deserved yet, and I say that out of respect for Jalen Ramsey. Charles Woodson's one of the most decorated football players to ever live at any position in any era. Here's the deal with Jalen Ramsey. I wonder this, is he still the guy? And by the guy, I mean, I remember Jalen Ramsey coming in and felt like he was taking over the league. He was in this little sleepy market in Jacksonville. He made them cool. He made them tough. He's out there fighting A.J. Green. He's out there calling out Steve Smith. Like, he didn't give a damn, and it was awesome. I feel like Jalen Ramsey, for years, had the belt. And by the belt, I mean, I am the best corner in the league. You can trace that thing back to whoever you want. Champ Bailey, Darrell Revis, Pat Peterson, all the way back to Dion. Jalen Ramsey was wearing that. Right now, universally, to any PFF, any fan with a lunch pail, Pat Surtain in Denver is the best corner in the league, and he's paid like it, and God bless him. Does Jalen Ramsey still have that in him? Even half of that, even a third of that. He's 30 years old, and at this point, like, he's got a lot of talent, and he's very famous, and I like Jalen Ramsey a lot, and I saw him last week, and he's tight with the guys, and he's colorful, and he's loud, and he's fun, and he's great. Is he even the best cornerback on his own team? Is he the second best cornerback on his own team? Remember, they got Porter Jr., they got Slay, and they have Ramsey. So I would love nothing more than for Jalen Ramsey to make this compliment from Rodgers totally deserved. We're looking up 7 weeks in, we're like, wow, Jalen Ramsey looks like an all-pro. He has found his home in Pittsburgh. It works for him. I don't know yet. I don't know if his best football is behind him. Obviously, the Dolphins think it was. He's a Super Bowl champ. He's been an all-pro. He has very little to prove, kind of like Rodgers. But I would like to see him take another run at the belt because he had that sucker for years.
Yeah, and I love that comparison because when Charles Woodson came to Green Bay in 2006, he was looked at the same way. He was an outcast. When he was a free agent, when the Raiders let him go, he had one phone call. One phone call. He was a four-time Pro Bowler. One phone call, and it was the Packers. He came to us in 2006. He was 30 years old, right? Everyone said the same thing. Does he still have juice? He's still that guy. He's been injured. He came in, first season, 8 picks, and then all of a sudden, when they moved him to the star positions where he took over, the one thing that was really appealing, and I'm pretty close with Jalen Ramsey's father, is that he was very excited that the Steelers said they were going to use his versatility. So, yes, maybe he's not just a corner. He's not just a safety. He's somebody that needs to line up all over the field where he can be accounted for. And so I think that's where, him being there, he's going to be very, very excited. I think he's going to have one of his best seasons.
How does one become close with Jalen Ramsey's father?
Okay, so on the Mad Libs that you're talking about. So this was funny. It was 2000. First of all, when Jalen was in high school, I got asked to do a video, like an instructional video with defensive backs. And so it was myself as the pro, there was another high school kid, and it happened to be Jalen. He was 16 years old.
Wow.
There was another kid as well who was middle school. So we wanted to show like different versions. And I remember I met Jalen when he was 16. I looked at him, I was like, he's gonna go first round. I just looked at him as he's gonna go first round.
That's awesome.
He's the same size, height, weight now. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, now we're putting him on a graphic with Charles Woodson. That's pretty good, and it's all because of the instructional video that you put on tape with Will Blackman, everybody.
You're welcome, Jalen.
We've got 7 hours of live coverage from training camps all around the league, including player interviews that you can't find anywhere else. Inside Training Camp Live, that's what it's called, gets underway noon Eastern on NFL Network. Those guys are knocking it out of the park for us. Coming up next, though, Joe Burrow had something to say about his game. Our crew is weighing in on